The Journal of Wang Minchang. After a dangerous journey from China, Wang Minchang, a 12-year-old boy, arrives in San Francisco in 1852. He is on his way to help his uncle in the gold mine. This expert is from his diary. June 18th, San Francisco, or First City. The Golden Mountain is stranger, scarier, funnier, sadder, and more wonderful than I ever imagined. Now that I am here, I will use only the American calendar. American calendar. When we got off the ship, I thought I was in the middle of a forest, except I could hear the ocean. Then I realized the tall poles were the masts of ships. I was surrounded by hundreds of empty boats. They jammed the harbor like a fish in my village pond. How would it fish? I bet I could have walked it from one deck to another across the bay. I didn't see any sailors. Instead, I saw laundry hanging from lines as people were using the boats as houses. Then I saw one ship that literally had a house built on top of it. Maybe all the sailors had left their ships to find gold too. Big, loud machines were pounding logs vertically into the mud of a half-kilometer from the shore. Real houses perched on top of logs that had already been driven in. Men and machines were filling in the shoreline to make more space. In some places, they weren't even bothering to move the ship, but were just filling the dirt around it. Blessing Swan's brother would have loved the machine. First sitting at the foot of the steep hills between the shore and the hillside, a few houses lie scattered on the slope. Instead of building on the hills, they were expanding into the water. Thought in summer, the air is as chilling here as a winter back at home. I have to stop now. They're calling for us to register. Later, just got back. I don't want to forget a thing, so I'm going to write it all down, but there's so much. After all these months at sea, my legs are used to the motion of the waves. It was strange to stand on a solid ground. My legs kept wanting to adjust for a moving platform. They still are. On shore, there was a Chinese man shouting for people from the forest district to come over to him. Another was ordering three district people to gather around him. Jam, melon, squash, nose, and they stuck it together as a group. Our own district belonged to the area known as the Fourth District. We tried to ask the clerk what he wanted, but he looked impatient and bored. He snapped at us to wait, and then went back to the bawling out his call over and over. When all the Chinese had left the ship, he mechanically began to recite a speech he must have given hundreds of times. It seems that the Chinese in the land of Golden Mountain have grouped together by areas and family clans, but primarily by area. His headquarters will act as our clearinghouse for everything, temporarily shelter, jobs, and transportation to the gold fields. I was grateful to hear that. The headquarters will also send our money and letters back home. He emphasized that we will not be allowed to go home until we have paid back everything that we owe. If we die before then, they will see to it that our bones are shipped back to for burial. I felt a little trapped. It sounds as if the only way out here is to die. But then I reminded myself my, that the uncle is doing well. He will watch over me. Still later. Finally, real food, rice, vegetables, and meat. At first, I wondered if I had lost track of time. Maybe it was a feast day. However, the people at the headquarters act like they have all the time. At home, only rich people can feast like this every day. To get to Chinatown, we had to pass through the American part of the city. San Francisco is a big pot of soup with everything mixed in. People seem to live in anything they can. In many places, I saw tents of dirty canvas. Other buildings were wooden fronts with canvas sides and roofs. that flapped up and down. The first good wind stopped to blow most of them away. When I asked the clerk, he explained that the past 3 years fixed fires and destroyed the city. The last was just a year ago. Then I saw some little cottages built out of the iron. The clerk said that there used to be a lot more. However, in the last fire, many people had stayed inside them, thinking they were safe. Unfortunately, the flames turned into iron cottages into huge stoves. When the unlucky people tried to escape, they found the doors and windows had sealed tight and they were trapped. Most of them died. What is that? Finally, he came to an area that the fire must have shifted. Tall buildings of brick or wood rose several stories high. Through the open windows and doorways came to the sound of a loud laughter. Then tried to peek inside one place and got hard-boiled eggs in face. He said they were playing cards inside. Other wooden buildings were so new that their lumber and smelled so freshly cleaned wood and shone like pale gold. Still others had hardly weathered gray, while a few had been painted white, the color of death. At first I thought we were mausoleums for the dead, but as I passed I saw there were stores. As all of them were crammed with goods. In fact, the goods spilled out of some of them and were piled on the sidewalk. Then I saw tall stone walls rising from the dirt. Chinese were on the scaffolding building the walls, so I thought we were in Chinatown. However, when we just kept on walking, asked the clerk. He said it is an American building, but that tall mountain shut off this province from the rest of the country. It had been cheaper to bring the stones from China. Unfortunately, the assembly instructions had been written in Chinese, so the American owner had hired a boatload of Chinese stone. Manson to put it together is to be the first city, first building stone. I felt proud that it is Chinese who are doing that. Has to go. Jem and Melon need help reading the employment notices. Evening. San Francisco is also a big school of people. Every country in the world has dumped someone into the pot, and most of us are hurrying in the Golden Mountain. I see hair of almost every color and faces and bodies stranger than the British man in Hong Kong. Many of them are Americans, but many others speak languages that don't sound like English. They wear every type of costume from elegant to cheap and plain. I also see people with skin the same color as mine. However, when I try to greet them, they don't understand me. I don't think they're speaking English either. Most of them are miners and look as eager as new as us. The air is crackling with energy. I wish I could bottle it and sell it as a tonic. Two things worry me, thought. Even if the Golden Mountain is pure gold, can there really be enough for all the miners I see? Almost all of them are armed with at least a pistol and a knife too. Why do they need so much protection and from what? Could the Golden Mountain be even more dangerous than the sea? Boys here? I don't see how. And yet, the others want to turn off the lights so they can sleep. Another wonder the light is inside glass. The Americans call it kerosene. I don't see how they can sleep. I know I won't. June 19th. Another big meal. It was rice porridge and fried crullers, like at home. But the porridge had big chunks of pork and preserved eggs. I've never eaten so well. Blessing would definitely have liked this part of the trip. The Chinese live in an area on a steep hill of San Francisco. The clerk was careful to tell us the Chinese and American names in case we get lost. In Chinese, it's the street of the people of Tang. The Tang was a famous dynasty back in China thousands of years ago. In English, it is called Sacramento Street. However, since there are thousands of Chinese living here now, Chinatown had begun to spill over onto the other streets, especially the pond. Like American Town, Chinatown is a mixture of wooden buildings and tents. The buildings are American style but wooden carvings and zinc boards in Chinese mark their owners. Above Chinatown, on the American street called Stocktown, are a few wooden mansions where the richer Americans live. Our group is luckier than some of the Chinese who had to stay in tents. We're inside the headquarters itself. The smells make me feel right at home. All certain scents mixes with the smell of cooking. We are crowded into a room on the second floor. Thought we are packed side to side. It seems ancient after the exile there.